What's up everybody, it's your boy Proftrof and we are back again with another Warhammer 40k video. This is top 5 Guardsmen Regiments by Majorkill. Wait, Majorkill? Is that? Yeah, Majorkill. Jeez, my brain just fucking farted there. Anyway, I know you guys have been suggesting a lot of videos about Space Marines and shit, but I kinda wanted to see what the normal humans can do in Warhammer 40k. I'm kinda tired of seeing these superhuman cunts go up and steal all my normal people glory. So let's see if we have some badass normal motherfuckers. Like we had the dude that was sitting on the Emperor's chair and doing shit, right? I mean, he disappeared, but he was a fucking ultra powerful psyker. There must be others like him, right?
Guys and gal, in Warhammer 40k, everyone is constantly frothing over Space Marines.
Exactly.
The Space Marines saved this, the Space Marines did that. I want a Space Marine inside me. You can't really blame people for this. All the
a commenter let me know that because the Space Marines only value shit that's useful for combat, they have small dicks and small balls. So if you want a Space Marine inside you, it's probably not gonna feel that good because it is small, and they spit fucking acid.
Cool art and stories are about Space Marines. But when you consider that there are only about 1 million loyal Astartes in the entire galaxy, pretty much one for each Imperial world, you begin to notice that they only take a part in a fraction of the total conquests. Who fights in these other 99% of battles? The Guardsmen. Mortal men and women who pledge their lives defending the Imperium. They don't get given awesome gear or super soldier powers, no. All they have is each other and massive raging boners for the Emperor. Today we honour them by taking a look at the top 5 Guardsmen Regiments in Warhammer 40k. Hopefully this will also stop you retards in my Discord from spamming me with Guardsmen video requests every 5 minutes. A really cool thing that sets the different Guardsmen Regiments apart from, let's say, different Space Marine chapters is the diversity. Each Space Marine chapter has different coloured armour and...
I think that dude on the left is from the wrong century, and I like how he said diversity and showed the black person. Nice on you, Majorkill.
Might specialise in different types of warfare, whereas different Guardsmen regiments will use entirely different weaponry and armour and have different philosophies and tactics. Each Guardsmen regiment could genuinely be perceived of its own faction because of how unique they are. Before we get started, as I announced last video, I'll be doing a Vermintide 2 stream this Friday on YouTube with Legend of Total...
I've played that shit. I'm gonna be honest with you, Vermintide's kinda garbage. Like, it's really fun for the first 5 to 10 hours, and then you kinda understand that you're doing the same shit again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
Total
There's
War,
not much.
his wife, and Lawmaster of Sotek.
His wife?
Basically just gonna take the... piss.
So his wife's gonna get... Okay, I'm not gonna say anything.
Legend also said he isn't very good at this game, so we can see his human side for once. Maybe even me carrying him. Probably not, I suck as well, but we have Lawmaster of Sotek, so we G. Time will be 12 AM Australian time, or 7 AM London time, or 3 PM US time, so get down, have a beer, and witness some serious purging. Today we'll count down the top 5 best Guardsmen regiments and why they're so awesome. We'll also highlight specific awesome characters that they may have. My goal with this video and pretty much all my videos is to try and make you laugh or smile at least once during it. So my challenge to you is if I am able to give you a moment or two of good times during this vid, then please consider subscribing. We're so close to 100k, and when we hit that, I'm going to do some seriously messed up stuff as a thank you. Let's get into it. Starting us off, we have the Cadian Shock Troopers. Cadia is probably one of the worst places in...
I was expecting this to be a bit higher.
The entire galaxy to live. Not because the wildlife will eat you or it's going through a self-induced nuclear winter, no. It's because it's the first line of defense against the Eye of Terror, a big-ass tear in space which was leaking bad vibes. And lots of demons.
Bad vibes.
Every time the Eye of Terror and its many problems wanted to affect the Imperium, it would first have to go up against Cadia. Hence, every able-bodied man, woman and child are taught how to fight hell from as soon as they can walk. By 6 years old, they were masterclass
What is that background music, Major?
And before 7, they're already told about the warp and chaos, knowledge that would usually result in you getting exterminatus. Hence, they have so many elite soldiers that even if the enemy is way more powerful, which it is usually because hell and whatnot, they can just throw an endless supply of disciplined guardsmen into the meat grinder before it clogs up. But Majorkill, the planet broke before the guard did. Shut your fucking mouth, Timmy, before I slam your ass so hard it tears open like the Cicatrix maledictum. The Imperium would prefer a broken guard before a broken planet. Losing Cadia caused the death of trillions upon trillions of people, or even more, and has caused immense suffering. In saying that though, the battle for Cadia was actually pretty much won by the Imperium. Abaddon just had to be a bad sport about things at the end and throw his Blackstone fortress at it.
Yeah, we heard in the other, like, okay, listen, for all you don't know, no, Abaddon, big bad guy, I don't know much about him, we haven't seen much videos on him for some reason, even though he's a big bad guy. He had a ship that can destroy planets with a gun. And the dude was so fucking intelligent that instead of shooting the planet destroying weapon of the ship at the planet, he did the next best thing. He rammed the planet with the ship that had a planet destroying gun. It worked. Ship is broken though. Can't really destroy planets if you fucking ram that shit. What the fuck, Abaddon?
Destruction of their planet as well as the death of most of them. The Cadian survivors still bring the battle to the enemy at thousands of fronts. Many Cadians were not on Cadia when it was destroyed, as they were considered such valuable soldiers that it seemed like a waste not to disperse them through the galaxy to kick ass. Also, their eyes are purple because purple is cool.
Their eyes are
in the
purple?
Warhammer setting, as a rule of
Targaryens.
thumb, if you don't want something to be attacked, don't make its name sound like a war invitation. This is a lesson that the Steel Legion of Armageddon have been dealing with for quite some time now.
Legion of Armageddon.
Feeding into the philosophy that the Guardsmen's strength is their numbers, not their skills or equipment, they don't often have to have a super high amount of tanks or mechanized armored transports. But not the Steel Legion! These boys live in tanks and have a shitload of them, thanks to being from one of the Imperium's most productive industrial worlds. Bayonet charge? Nah fam, that's for retards. We don't do that here. Tank charge?
I mean, think about it. It is the 40,000 millennia, whatever, 40k years. Like, we don't bayonet charge now. It's 2000 some shit. I hope that in 38,000 years we don't bayonet charge, because some shit has gone really wrong if we do.
You got it, Chief. When the Steel Legion want to push up on the enemy, they basically just ram their tanks into their lines, before dismounting and blasting the survivors to Kingdom Come. The Steel Legion don't mess around and they never hesitate. On the planet Cassel, a Steel Legion force was garrisoned there. When the planetary governor started getting all weird and refused to wear a face mask despite the presence of Nurgle, he declared rebellion against the Imperium in the Emperor's name. As we have seen previously,
Rebellion against the Imperium in the Emperor's name.
Rebellions built on fanatical religion can spread far and wide, causing a lot of property damage as well as catastrophic job loss. So the Steel Legion wasted no time in sieging the planetary governor, killing his forces, and then executing him in the span of 6 hours. Unlike most Guardsmen regiments, the Steel Legion don't actually like dying. They aren't afraid of death and will die if needed, but they aren't really into that whole like suicide via bayonet charge vibe. They wear a lot of protective gear and armor to protect themselves not only from the orcs and demons who attack their homeworld, but also to protect themselves from their homeworld, which is more or less a radioactive wasteland at this point.
Like, the more I understand from 40k, it seems like most planets are radioactive wastelands at this point. Like, what the fuck?
Plus their excessive amount of tanks has actually resulted in everyone being pleasantly surprised that the Steel Legion suffer way less casualties than other regiments on Armageddon. However, that is like saying they died slower after having their necks knelt on than the unarmed dude that got shot in the back 6 times. They still die, but just not as hard and fast.
That's pretty cool.
No surprises here then that they're often commanded by Sebastian Yarrick, arguably the most badass commissar in the entire Imperium. This next
is this the dude that killed his uncle? Because he killed his dad.
Arguably the most badass commissar in the entire Imperium. This next regiment
awesome.
Is by far the smallest.
Is that an orc arm? Isn't that the shit the orcs use?
Commissar in the entire Imperium. This next regiment is by far the smallest, owed to the fact that shortly after they were created, their home planet was destroyed by Chaos. Big mistake, Chaos. The Tanith first and only, aka Gaunt's Ghosts. Tanith was a pretty unremarkable planet full of trees and hippies. When the Commissar Ibrahim Gaunt arrived, he was very unimpressed with the state of the guardsmen the planet had produced. While they lacked discipline and training, Growing up on a forest planet had its benefits, such as naturally developing guerrilla warfare and stealth tactics. As Gaunt took up the regiment off-world to deploy them in various war zones, a Chaos fleet arrived and tore Tanith to shreds. Many of the guardsmen wanted to return home to defend it, but Gaunt knew they would get slaughtered, so he saved everyone he could and promised them revenge. And revenge they would get, as over the next decade, Gaunt's ghost would lead suicidal hit-and-run attacks time and time again, sabotaging and buckling Chaos forces on the Sabbat worlds. Although his regiment bled and was nearly wiped out on multiple occasions, the Chaos forces they fought were skull-fucked many times over. They were not the best armoured regiment, or the best trained, or the most numerous, but they had something not many others had. Absolutely nothing to lose. Their planet was destroyed, as well as their families and loved ones. All they had left in their hearts and minds was pure vengeance, and vengeance they got. The ruinous powers severely regret the day they destroyed Tanith on a whim. Had they just left it alone, they never would have received the anal immiseration that they still endure today. Next up is a regiment so iconic and badass that they will
The fuck is that thing doing on the left there? Hey, get off, you little shit. Get off the picture.
definitely get their own video at some point. The self-hating, disturbingly brainwashed, and incredibly effective Death Corps of Krieg. Now, Voldemort did a great audio drama video on these guys that me and pretty much all the other Warhammer YouTubers collaborated on that detailed these guys, but it would be criminal of me not to detail them now on this list. Krieg used to be a powerful, verdant world with a huge abundance of natural resources. The planetary governments got so cocky and confident that they believed they could declare independence from the Imperium without repercussion, as they thought that the Imperium would not want to spend the resources required to take the planet due to its vast defences. Hence rebel they did, and they were right. The Imperium did not want to take the time and effort to redirect forces for an invasion. Hence, instead they authorised Colonel Yerton, the commander of the Loyalist forces on the planet, to unleash an atomic winter upon the planet via self-bombardment, in the ultimate fuck you move. Over the next 500 years, the Loyalists battled against the Secessionists on an irradiated wasteland. Siege and trench warfare became so prolific and hardcore that it made World War II look like...
Yeah, this dude on the right has a horse with a prosthetic leg. This is insane. I love these guys. And a gas mask.
A sandpit brawl. Eventually the Loyalists won after generations of crafting the ultimate soldier, a warrior hardened by the horrors of war, completely without fear of death. These soldiers were also taught that they had a debt to the Emperor due to their planet's betrayal, a debt that could only be paid in blood, of theirs or their enemies. With the planet being completely fucked over, the only thing Krieg could offer to the Imperium was soldiers, hence the planet basically became one big hardcore breeding machine. Thousands of soldiers are created in the lab, while thousands more are a result of what I would call as a mass duty driven orgy. Either way, Kriegsmen are spread far and wide in the galaxy, often requesting deployment in the most hardcore war zones. Here's the best part about them. Commissars are often attached to regiments to keep morale high and stop their guardsmen from routing. When they are attached to the Death Corps of Krieg, they instead have to try and keep them from randomly charging at the enemy with their shovels. One more fun badass fact about these dudes is that a massive amount of their soldiers are teenagers or even children, as they are so eager to deploy in combat zones as soon as they can. Due to them not being very talkative, as well as always covering themselves head to toe, you can't actually tell their age. So yeah, that line that just held against an orc charge without hesitation probably had the average age of 15. Badass. Our final Guardsmen Regiment.
Oh, and another thing that he did not mention in this, probably in the other video he did. Their planet got nuked, right? So they build an underground fucking facilities and shit. And their planet looks like shit from the outside, but the inside's actually pretty fucking dope. And they probably make
Could it really have been anyone else? We have the Catachan jungle fighters, an army of roided up Rambos. They grew up on a planet which is constantly trying to kill them. On Catachan, Darwin...
Yeah, doesn't this remind you of the first Predator movie? The one with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Doesn't this remind you of that? Like, it's basically that, no?
Law rules, as 75% of Catachans don't survive past the age of 10. Due to wildlife so scary, it makes Tyranids look cuddly. Imagine, it's almost as dangerous as Australian wildlife. As a result of this, the 25% that do survive past 10 are all literal action heroes who excel in jungle warfare. Makes sense, they grow up in the most dangerous jungle in the galaxy, so any other jungle would be child's play. These flexy boys have seen combat across the galaxy and fought on Armageddon as well, although pretty much everyone has fought there, so not too much of a flex. When faced against Tyranids, the jungle fighters don't have the luxury of huge gun lines, so instead they cover themselves with Tyranid blood to mask their scent. They then harvest the pheromones from other Tyranids to lure more Tyranids into deadly traps. This has proved incredibly effective, as the hive mind never really anticipated to meet an enemy with balls so heavy they had to be dragged along the ground with them. It was from the jungle fighters that Sly Marbo, the greatest hero of the Imperium, comes from. A man so powerful that logic and reason seize up and die near him. This man is so jacked his muscles have muscles. He makes orcs look like they have a degenerating muscle disease, and time again has defeated countless enemy armies. What else can you expect from the love child of Rambo and Arnie, who was raised by John Wick? Overall, the Catachan's insane versatility, power and survivability put them on top and make you go, wow, no shit, the Imperium has still held itself together despite 10,000 years of non-stop.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. They look badass, but this dude looks like he's missing a couple of chromosomes.
War. And that does us for today, guys. The top 5 Guardsmen Regiments. There are dozens more really interesting Guardsmen Regiments out there. Knights with machine guns that ride horses, snow fighters, you name it. I often feel as if the Guardsmen don't get enough credit, so I wanted to highlight that they are more than just cannon fodder who the Space Marines flex on. Guardsmen from all the listed regiments have brought upon death and destruction to the enemies of the Imperium many times more than a Space Marine chapter or even Legion ever could. If you enjoyed this video and want to get access to a boatload of Warhammer hentai, then Patreon is the place to be. $1 gives you access to dozens of custom artworks, and $10 gives you access to the Majorkill hentai calendar, which is sold out and will never be coming back on for sale. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more underappreciated
the
content.
real subscribe. He's actually right though. Yeah. I have a question for all my Warhammer 40k nerdies and lore big brains, okay? Question. Has any Guardsman beaten a Space Marine in a 1v1? Let me know who, why, when. I'll see you next time. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a nice fucking day.